The truth is, most of people can't change their lives because they can't change their thinking, and you cannot change your thinking without first examining it. And that's where journaling comes in. I have been journaling for the past 4 years now, and it has completely changed my life. I know that at first it can be a little bit overwhelming, especially if you are getting to know certain emotions that you never ever felt before, or didn't even know how to properly describe them. What if I told you that all you need is just 5 minutes a day to completely change your life? In this video, I will break down why journaling is so powerful, and I will also give you 8 tested and approved methods that are going to completely shift your mindset. If you're new here, hi, my name is Beatrice and I'm currently studying psychology at university. In this video, I'm going to share everything that I personally wish I had known when I first started journaling. Let's get into it. When you write the things down, you actually move from just feeling things to actually observing them from an external point of view. It also helps your mind to relax, just as if you were closing extra tabs on your computer. Journaling is so powerful also because it can help you understand the things that you didn't even know about yourself before. This is one of the most important benefits that you can get from writing things down, is the fact that you get to see your growth over time. When I read my old journals entries, I am amazed by how much I've actually changed. We often think that the way that we feel now is the way that we will feel forever for the rest of our lives, but that's not true. Looking back actually shows how far you have come and builds up your confidence. By the way, if you want more ideas and more journaling prompts, I've actually made a 30-day challenge completely free that you can get from the link in my description. Check the link down below. But now, let's take a look at the 8 evidence-based journaling techniques. The first technique is called fact labeling. Many people think that journaling is only for the people who actually are very empathic and only feels things very deeply. But that's a very misconception. Journaling is for everyone, especially for those who actually feel like they are not very in touch with their emotional side. The fact labeling technique is so powerful because it uses journaling as a direct mirror into your emotions. For example, start to write about an event, something that recently happened to you that you really like. You first focus on the main event itself. So you write down about who you were with, where did you go, when did you go, and how actually did you feel. Then, as you are writing things down, also write about how you actually felt at that moment and how you are feeling right now as you are actually explaining this. This is going to help you see both the outside details, so the main event itself and your inner world, so how you actually were feeling at the moment and how you feel now. Try exploring different emotions such as anger, joy, gratitude. The effect labeling technique was actually discovered in 2007 by the Dr. Matthew Lieberman at the UCLA, and he found that naming an emotion, like saying this is anger, this is sadness, helps the brain relax. The second journaling technique is asking your higher self for personal advice. We all have this idea of who our higher self is. And so one thing that I love to do when I'm faced with a dilemma or just a very stupid issue is asking my higher self what would she do in the situation. For example, I sometimes don't feel like I am in the mood for actually shooting a new YouTube video, or on the other hand, after having recorded it and edited, I feel like the video is not good enough for me to put it outside on my main channel. I actually ask my higher self and I'm like, okay, what would she do in this situation? The third technique is called the shadow integration. Sometimes we unconsciously judge people for things that we don't like, or we even get triggered by certain actions that we actually cannot explain. Psychologists call this the shadow self, which are the parts of us that we actually denied and hidden. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist, and he said that we all develop a persona to fit in, and we hide traits like anger and big emotions in our psychological basement. But fun fact, all of these traits don't actually stay hidden, but they actually come out as a very heavy anxiety and depression. Shadow work is truly effective but also overwhelming. It's not about becoming negative or journaling about all the negative aspects about ourselves. It's more about accepting all of our hidden parts into our reality, integrating them into our actually personality. The fourth technique is a very good one and the most common one, and it's called the 5 good things. Researchers from the US Davis and the University of Miami split the participants into 3 groups. They asked the first group to journal weekly about what they were actually grateful for. The second group just journaled about normal events, and the final group wrote down about things that bothered them. 10 weeks later, the gratitude group, so the first one, felt significantly better about their lives. They were much more optimistic, and they had fewer physical health issues and also exercise for more hours per week. That's amazing! We now have the sentence completion. Basically, you start writing down a sentence and then you keep completing it multiple times without actually thinking about it. For example, you might say something like, if I were completely honest with myself, and then you just let all of your answers come out. There are no right or wrong answers. You're not trying to be perfect nor logical. You are just trying to write down all of your emotions into paper. The interesting part about this technique is the fact that after just a few repetitions, you actually go beyond the surface levels answers, and you will start noticing that you are going to write more honest subconscious thoughts. The next one is called the Pennebaker protocol. This one is actually a little bit more structured and it comes from a psychological research. The idea is that for a few days in a row, usually 3 or 4, you sit down for about 15 or 20 minutes and you write continuously about a difficult or emotional experience in your life. You don't worry about the grammar or the synthesis of the phrase, you just worry about being completely honest. The goal itself is not to create a beautiful story, it's just to help your brain organize all of those heavy emotions and the memories. Studies show that just doing this for just 10 minutes a day, it can actually reduce the stress and improve your well-being. On the 7th place, we have the brain dumping technique, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Open your journal and you write down about your tasks, reminders, thoughts, even the most silly thoughts. You don't have to worry about being needy, you don't have to worry about being organized, you simply have to write down everything that comes to mind. This is especially useful when you find yourself being overwhelmed by a lot of tasks that you have to do and you don't even know where to begin. And getting everything out on paper actually helps your mind clearing things up. Once everything is actually written down on paper, you feel way lighter and less stressed out. And you can actually focus on how to achieve everything that you want to do. And for the 8th technique, I actually wanted to put down my favorite one, which is the one that I actually made up. I didn't personally invent it, but it's the one that I had been using for the past couple of months now, and it has completely shifted my view and my mindset. I don't have a name for it. I haven't actually labeled this, so if you have any suggestions, you can actually comment down below and we are going to give it a name together. So you would actually write about that bad day, that very specific bad day that you personally had. You write down why it was a bad day, how you felt, what your thoughts were, and most importantly, what you did to actually fight the bad thoughts. As you are writing down, you then want to ask yourself, if I could go back in time, is there anything that I would change about that day? You may have isolated yourself too much. And for example, when I was actually doing this and I was writing down about a bad day that I had, I was feeling very anxious and depressed out of nowhere. I didn't exactly understand why I was feeling all of a sudden those heavy and very overwhelming emotions. And the one mistake that I did is that I actually didn't go out that day, for example. And when I was journaling about him, I understood that I was feeling a certain way. I was feeling very saddened and overwhelmed, and I wanted to be isolated. I wanted to be left alone for the whole day. If I could go back in time to last week's episode, I would actually just behave completely differently. So those are the 8 tested and approved journaling methods that completely changed my life, and I'm hoping that they can change yours as well. The most important thing after you watch this video is that you take action, immediate action. Choose at least one thing that you are going to take away from today. And before you know it, just spending 2 to 5 minutes journaling per day is going to completely skyrocket your life. You're going to live a brand new life by the end of 2026. Journaling will then become an integrated part of your life, and you won't even have to force it anymore. Therefore, it will give you all of the tools and the power to completely shift your life. As always, I thank you for watching. Make sure to stay safe. Remember that the journey is the destination. I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye!